The story begins with a man named Sunny. Sunny is a street artist in Mumbai with a talent that is almost impossible to believe. He can copy anything perfectly with his hands. He spends his days painting faces on the street and selling copies of famous paintings, but despite how extraordinary his skill is, nobody pays him what he is worth. The art he learned from his grandfather Madhav, who owns a small printing press called Kranti Patrika, a magazine he has run for decades hoping it will one day create change in society. Sunny's best friend Firaz has been by his side since childhood and learned the technical side of printing from the press. Uncle Yasser is the man Madhav trusts to run production, and the three of them together keep the press barely alive. But the press has been sinking for a year. Most people do not buy the magazine, and when they did buy it as children, they watched people use it to wrap fried bananas. Sunny and Firaz used to sit together and calculate that if they saved 250 rupees every day, it would take them 110 years to become billionaires, and that number has never left their minds, because the life they are living feels exactly that slow. Sunny also has a girlfriend named Ananya who comes from a wealthy family and moves through a completely different world. On New Year's Eve, she invites Sunny to celebrate at Velocity, one of the most expensive clubs in the city. Sunny and Firaz go there together and find out that a single ticket costs 27,000 rupees. The officer at the door looks at their old clothes and their flip-flops and throws them out. Sunny organizes a simple rooftop party for his friends, and Ananya comes briefly, but she feels uncomfortable and leaves to go to the luxury club. That image of her walking away says everything about the distance between where Sunny is and where he wants to be. Next morning, Sunny goes to the press and finds the workers standing outside. Debt collectors have come and given Madhav an ultimatum. The press has been pawned to a loan shark named Ratanlal, and the debt must be paid or everything will be taken away. Sunny and Firaz go to Ratanlal and beg for more time, and out of respect for his old friendship with Madhav, Ratanlal gives them 1 month. Sunny adds up everything they have, their savings, the money from selling his motorcycle, and all his paintings, and it is nowhere near enough. That night, Madhav sits quietly, and Sunny watches his grandfather carry the weight of possibly losing the only thing he has ever loved, and Sunny cannot stand it. Firaz reaches out to a street gangster named Anis, and through Anis they get connected to a counterfeiting expert named Manja. But when Firaz brings the idea back, Sunny already has a different plan. He tells Firaz they do not need anyone else, they have a design expert, a printing expert, and a printing press right there, and he says simply, "Let us just make the money ourselves." Firaz is horrified. He says they are trying to save the press, not destroy it. But Sunny looks at him and says, "Someone printed every note in this country, and that person was just a human being like us." So they clear out the room above the press, and Sunny gets to work. He studies a 500 rupee note with the same intensity he gives to his paintings. He copies every micro letter written on Gandhi's collar, details so small they are invisible to the naked eye. He hand draws the intricate design instead of scanning it, because he knows even a high-resolution scanner cannot perfectly replicate letters that fine. Then comes the printing. Their small machine can only print one color at a time, so they print, clean, change color, and repeat 4 times. They cut the notes, add a security strip from a 10 rupee note, stamp the serial numbers, and then soak everything in tea water to age the notes so the ink does not run, and they hang them on a line and dry them. When their first batch is ready, they go to a small shop to test it. Firaz buys a soda, and the moment the shopkeeper holds the note up to the light, his face changes. He rubs it between his fingers and grabs Firaz by the wrist. Sunny pulls Firaz free and they both run through the streets until they find an alley to hide in and catch their breath. Back at the press, Sunny burns all the notes they made and tells Firaz that his grandfather always said the difference between art and trash is one mistake, and that mistake was the paper. Banknotes are made from special cotton paper, not the wood pulp paper that ordinary printers use, and the feel and the sound when you fold it is completely different. Sunny researches until he finds the same cotton paper used in a small magazine. He bleaches it and reworks it, and after several experiments they find a solution. They print the front of the note on one sheet and the back on another, and glue them together with varnish and tea water. The result is a note that feels exactly like the real thing. This time, when Firaz goes back to the same shop and buys a soda, the shopkeeper takes the money, counts out the change, and hands it back without a second look. They both walk out onto the street and stand there for a moment, not quite believing what just happened. Now, while Sunny and Firaz are celebrating their small victory, the story introduces us to 2 other people who are going to become very important. The first is Mansoor, a powerful and dangerous man who runs one of the largest counterfeit money operations in India. His network prints 2,000 rupee notes in the Middle East, packages them in Nepal, and distributes them across India through a chain of middlemen. He has been doing this for years and moving so much fake money that it has become a serious threat to the Indian economy. The second is Michael, a police officer who has been hunting Mansoor for 6 years. Michael is brilliant and relentless, but he is also a man whose life has fallen apart around him. His marriage is ending, his wife has filed for divorce, his relationship with his young son is distant, and he drinks heavily at night and calls government officials drunk. Michael gets a tip that Mansoor is in Nepal at one of his packaging facilities. He moves in with his team and local police. They raid the location and find huge quantities of counterfeit notes ready to be shipped into India. They arrest Mansoor and his most trusted lieutenant Bilal and are putting them into a vehicle when suddenly Mansoor's local hired gunmen appear and open fire. In the chaos, Mansoor and Bilal escape, and Michael loses one of his own men, and it is not the first time Mansoor has slipped through his hands. Back in Delhi, a woman named Megha who works at the Reserve Bank of India gives a presentation to government ministers about a new currency detection technology she has developed, called CT600, which can identify counterfeit notes 50 times more accurately than existing machines. She has also built a mobile app app version so that ordinary people can check their money using their phone cameras. The ministers sit through her presentation barely looking up from their phones, and the senior minister tells her they will consider it and walks out. Michael watches this and goes to the minister Galit afterward, begging him to give him a dedicated task force to chase down the counterfeit money network. Galit tells him the country has bigger problems and that his mind is on the elections, and walks away. Meanwhile, Firas takes Sunny's counterfeit note to show their gangster contact Anis, and through Anis they go to Manja, and through Manja they go to a builder who is a middleman for buying fake notes. The builder puts 3 notes on the table and cannot tell which one is fake. Then he picks up his phone and places their first real order, 2 crore rupees worth of counterfeit notes, to be delivered in 1 week. For every 500 rupees of fake money, Sunny will receive 1 real rupee. The margins are clear and the pressure is immediate, because producing 2 crore in 1 week with the equipment they have is almost impossible. Sunny goes to Uncle Yasser and shows him the counterfeit note without any warning. Yasser holds it up to the light, turns it over, and cannot find a flaw. Sunny takes him to a cafe and pays for 2 coffees with counterfeit notes, and Yasser sits there sweating, watching the owner examine the bill, and does not breathe again until the waiter brings back the change. Yasser agrees to help but tells Sunny what they need to produce at scale: a faster printer, a paper cutter with a new motor, and a proper dryer, and all of it costs money. So Sunny goes back to the loan shark and takes another loan at 24% interest, giving himself 2 months to pay it back. The new machines arrive at the press and production begins. Firas tries to order the restricted cotton paper through proper channels, but the supplier demands a company registration, a trade license, and a GST number. So instead, Sunny calls Anis, and that night Anis and his crew break into a paper warehouse while the security guards are watching football. Firas nearly gets beaten when he gets separated from the group, but Sunny and Anis reach in just in time. They find the paper they need and deliberately steal several other types as well, so it looks like a random theft rather than a targeted one. The press runs day and night, and within the week they complete the delivery of 2 crore in counterfeit notes and receive a bag of real money in return. The builder is so impressed that he calls again almost immediately with another order, and then another, and orders keep coming in. The operation grows, the money starts flowing, and Sunny uses the first real profit to pay off every rupee of Madhav's debt to the loan shark. When Madhav receives the papers for his press back, he asks Sunny tells him a new business gave him an advance. Madhav looks at him for a long moment and asks if anything wrong is happening, and then Sunny takes Ananya to Velocity for dinner, the same club that threw them out on New Year's Eve, and this time they walk straight in. He orders the most expensive things on the menu, and when the bill comes, he sends Ananya's credit card back to the waiter and pays in cash. Except the cash he uses is counterfeit. Just as Sunny leaves the restaurant, Mega arrives for dinner with a man her mother has chosen for her to marry. She pays her bill in cash, and when the waiter brings back her change, she picks up the notes and within seconds her trained eye spots something wrong. She takes every counterfeit 500 rupee note from the restaurant's cash register and takes them back to her office. At her office, Mega runs the notes through her CT600 machine, and the machine does not catch them. She examines them under a microscope and they pass every test she runs, until she soaks one in alcohol and realizes the note is made of 2 layers of paper sandwiched together. Whoever made this is working at a small scale with basic equipment, but they have extraordinary talent. That same night, Galit calls Michael and tells him he will get his task force. Michael asks for 1 representative from every government department, including the Reserve Bank of India, and Galit agrees. When Mega hears that a counterfeit task force is being assembled, she goes to her superior and asks him to put her name forward, and he agrees. Mega joins Michael's task force but quickly realizes that Michael has no interest in her lead about the small-scale counterfeiter she found through the restaurant notes. His only target is Mansoor and Bilail, and he tells her to stay focused on that. So Mega does what she always does when she is told no. She goes around the rules. She takes Michael's stamp without permission and uses it to authorize a police search of every printing press in the area around the restaurant. One by one they check each press and find nothing, and then they arrive at the last one on the list, which is Kranti Patrika, and inside Kranti Patrika, Sunny and Firas are in the middle of a production run. When Yasser sees the police car outside, he goes pale. Sunny tells him they cannot turn off the machine because the last print has not finished, so they kill all the lights, hide everything they can, and send Yasser out the back door to come around and meet the police at the front gate, pretending he has been elsewhere. Yasser stalls them for as long as he can, but Mega puts her ear close to the door and hears the machine, just as the last note finishes printing and Sunny cuts the power, but it is a second too late. Mega heard it. She asks Yasser to open the door, and when they enter, Sunny and Firas are hidden behind a partition. Firas suddenly remembers they forgot to empty the bin, which is full of cut paper scraps from the day's work. Sunny quietly slips out from his hiding spot, picks up a wrench, and moves toward Mega. For one terrible moment, he is standing directly behind her with the wrench in his hand, but then Mega's phone rings. It is Michael, calling to tell her that she searched the press without a warrant, used his stamp without permission, and needs to leave immediately. The police officers with her get the same call and they all walk out, and the press is saved. Yasser tells Sunny this was a sign to stop. Sunny tells him that they came and still did not catch them, which means they are doing everything right. The next day, Michael calls Mega into his office and fires her for forging his authorization, but Mega pleads with him and eventually he lets her keep her job with a final warning. The business continues to grow, and a politician named Kesribai Joshi, an MLA from Gujarat, contacts them through the builder and places an order for 20 crore rupees worth of counterfeit notes, to be delivered directly in Gujarat in 2 weeks. Yasser is furious and reminds Sunny that he said this was the last time. But Sunny and Firaz need paper again, and this time stealing from a warehouse is not possible. So they come up with a new plan. Firaz and Yasser find a deaf and mute old man, register a fake publishing company in his name, and hire a receptionist to answer calls. Using the company's legitimate registration, they order the restricted cotton paper through official channels, and the paper arrives with no questions asked. When the delivery run to Gujarat comes, Firaz is so nervous he can barely function. At a checkpoint along the way, police officers stop their truck and begin searching the boxes, which are packed with telephone directories to disguise the counterfeit notes. Sunny deliberately knocks over a crate of alcohol bottles they have kept as a decoy, and when the police find the bottles, Sunny negotiates quietly, handing over 6 bottles and a bribe of 1 lakh rupees, and they wave him through. The delivery is made, and both of them go straight to a bar afterward and spend the night celebrating. But when they return to the press that night, Madhav is standing there in the middle of the room, holding a stack of counterfeit notes. He has found the whole operation, and he looks at Sunny with an expression that Sunny has never seen on his grandfather's face before. Madhav tells them both to get out. He says that a thief's son will only ever be a thief, and that he always knew it would come to this. Sunny wants to say something but cannot, and he and Firaz leave in silence. After this, Sunny stops the operation and goes back to painting on the streets. But the money he earns on the streets feels like nothing now, and the pull of what he was doing before is always there. Meanwhile, Madhav begins showing signs of memory loss. He wanders away from the press one afternoon and cannot find his way home, and when Sunny and Firaz finally track him down, they take him to a doctor who tells them Madhav's brain is struggling to function normally, that he needs surgery, and that the waiting list for a specialist surgeon in India is several months long and the cost is significant. Around the same time, in Jordan, Mansoor is watching his operation fall apart. His warehouse is full of 2,000 rupee notes that cannot be distributed because Mega's Danrakshak app, which has now been launched across India and installed in banks and financial institutions, is catching all his counterfeit notes the moment they enter circulation. His entire stock is worthless. Then his most trusted man Jitu shows him a 500 rupee note that passes through every detector without triggering a single alarm, and tells him that someone in India is calling the maker the artist. Mansoor sends his men to find this person. They find Sunny and Firaz asleep and drag them out in the middle of the night, and that is when the story returns to where it began: the room, the blindfolds, and Mansoor holding up the note and asking, "Who made this?" Sunny says, "I did." Mansoor shows Sunny his own counterfeit 2,000 rupee note and asks what is wrong with it. Sunny looks at it for a moment and says, "It needs the touch of a real artist. The watermark is wrong, the line above Gandhi's head overlaps, and the microprint is badly done." Mansoor puts it through his detector and it fails. He looks at Sunny and offers him a partnership. Sunny refuses. Mansoor threatens to kill Firaz and Madhav and burn the press, and Sunny has no choice left. He agrees. Firaz is furious when they are released and tells Sunny that he did not join this to work for a man like Mansoor. But Sunny tells him they are already too deep and that this is their only way out. Mansoor takes them to the Middle East, where he has a secret facility with German printing machines that are the most advanced in the world. Sunny studies the 2,000 rupee note the same way he studied the 500. And within 3 days he produces a note that passes every detector. Mansoor cannot believe it, and large-scale production begins. While this is happening, Bilal, who has been caught by Michael in Bangladesh after a chase involving military forces, is brought to the Indian border, where Michael feeds him and then shoots him in the leg when he refuses to give up information. Bilal eventually starts to talk and reveals that someone called the artist has been making super notes for Mansoor, notes so perfect they defeat every machine, including Mega's CT600. Mansoor, meanwhile, visits Madhav at the press, pretending to be a well-wishing friend, and arranges for the best brain surgeon in the country to be assigned to Madhav's case, with all costs covered. This is not generosity, it is a chain around Sunny's neck, because now Sunny owes Mansoor his grandfather's life and cannot walk away. Mansoor then instructs Sunny to get close to someone on Michael's task force so they can stay ahead of the investigation. Sunny goes to a cafe and sits near Mega, who is there because she is tired of her mother arranging meetings with men she does not want to meet. Sunny introduces himself as Sandeep and they talk. He discovers she is looking for a new apartment and offers to help her find one through a broker he knows. The broker and the landlord are both Mansoor's people, and when Sunny pretends his phone is dead and borrows Mega's, the broker keeps her occupied while Sunny installs spyware on her phone. From that moment, every call and every message Mega receives is mirrored to Sunny's phone. What Sunny does not plan for is that he actually starts to fall for Mega. They meet for lunch and spend more time together, and something genuine begins to grow between them, which puts him in an impossible position, because every day he is using her to stay one step ahead of the man she is trying to catch. Using the information from Mega's phone, Sunny stays ahead of every police move. He cancels shipment routes the moment he learns the police have eyes on them, and the operation continues to build. The brothers manage to smuggle 12,000 crore rupees worth of counterfeit notes,